to correct, reveal, and heal all of that wound internally, externally. Definitely, externally, we see that on the daily basis or on the daily life too often. But internally, it's deeper and it's harder. And our body can do that when our mind really in stillness, in peacefulness. That's why relaxation or meditation will help our body to rebuild, to recover when we have a chronic or severe sickness. Yesterday we go through a little bit introduction about forecast nutrition. This is the main course for this retreat. So hopefully in the Dhamma discussion we will discuss more about this one, and then in the question and answer session, if anyone have any question related to that, we can go deeper. So for first, we have some agreement to each other. And you know, when we talk about our body, we used to think that we have only the physical part. That means the anatomy. We can see, we can touch, we can share. And secondly, that is the mentally, the thoughts, the idea, something like that. And then we forget about the other part. But actually, our body have many different layers or levels. Generally, we can divide it into 4 categories or 4 layers. The gross layer level, that means the physical. Whatever we can see, we can feel, we can touch, like bone, muscle, fat, tendon, something like that. The second layer, a little bit more deeper, more subtle. That means all of our activity of physiology, like biological reaction, by the hormone, the enzyme, by secretion, by our gland, our body. And the third level, it much deeper, it much more subtle. That means our mental, our mind, our thoughts, and finally, it's very, very delicate. That is our spiritual life. So, whenever we talk about our body, we should understand that it has to be include at least 4 categories together. For some people, especially for majority people at a young age, they may not think about the spiritual life. They may not pay attention much to the physiology. They may pay attention to the anatomy, the body, the physical only. For the elderly people or people above 50 or 60, they may think about more for the spiritual life, the mental life, the psychology. So it's not mean that we don't have, but because it depends on the society, depend on the culture, depend on the range of our age, we will concentrate or we will think more about that level. So first, again, whenever we talk to the term our body, we should understood that we should think about all of that 4 different levels. And secondly, we have to understand that every single phenomenon, every single thing, every single creation in the universe, if it wants to survive, it must have a nutrition or the food or the energy to supply for its existence. No one and nothing can survive without nutrition or energy. A human being, an elephant, a tiny virus, if they want to survive, they need food, they need energy. Even though a very invisible, for example, our thought, you see, you cannot see that, you cannot feel that, right? But you know it there. But if your thought want to survive, it still need to have the food for that. So what is the food of our thought? What is the energy to supply for our thought to survive? For example, when someone say a word unnicely to you, only one time, right? So if you listen, you hear it, and you let go, it's gone with the wind, right? So you not supply more energy, more food for that. But if after you hear that, and you bring that into your consciousness, that means you keep it in your storage room. Once in a while, you hear a voice of someone similar to that voice. You look at the face of someone similar to that face, and then the 7 consciousness will go into the storage consciousness, bring it up. It re-manifests on your mind consciousness. And at that moment, you supply more energy for that. And the root of that unnicely would now become bigger, deeper. And you put it back to the storage consciousness. If you repeat that again and again, that means you already supply the energy for that. Therefore, every single creation, every single phenomenon, doesn't matter visible or invisible, if it wants to survive, it needs the energy, the food, the nutrition. Therefore, if we have a strong belief and we practice really good, nothing we cannot transform or convert. So if we know that principle, we are not really worried whenever we have unpleasant feeling, whenever we encounter a disease or a sickness. Doesn't matter that it's just a common cold or that's a cancer, that is an untreatable disease. Because we know that even though that is a very terrible virus, that is terrible disease, but it not be there by the time when we were born, or 5 or 10 years ago, right? Because we unconsciously supply, provide the food, the nutrition, the energy for that. We create the environment for it to come, to stay, and to develop. Now we just need to be mindful, recognize what is the energy, what is the food favorable for that condition, for that disease, and for that virus. We just eliminate, we just transform, and slowly it will disappear, and we revert the condition. See, we have capacity to doing that. So back to the 4 kinds of nutriment. When we master about it, we will see how powerful and how many applications we can apply into our daily life. So the first one, that means all kinds of food or ring, we put it through our mouth. Consider the edible food. Solid, liquid, soft or hard, whatever we can put it through our mouth. So we consider all of that the edible food. The second group, what we call the sensible. Sensible, that means whatever food go through our first 5 sense organ. Our eyes need the image, need the color, need the picture, need the environment. Our ear need the sound. Our nose needs smell. Doesn't matter the good smell or bad smell. It will have a different effectiveness, but it needs to have smell to survive. The 4th one is our tongue, survive by the taste, our body by the scent. So whatever go through our first 5 sense organs, consider into the second group of food. The next one, what we call cognitive, or the volition. That means all of our thinking, all of our dreaming, planning, ambition belong to our mental life. And finally, that's the consciousness. But if you study the sutra, or when you hear the lecture from most of the teachers, you usually hear we're talking about the 6 consciousness or the mind consciousness only, right? We don't know much about the 7 and the 8. But actually, the sixth consciousness is important, but it can help or it can nourish our body in this lifetime only. It have no capacity to bring us to the next lifetime. And then that is a way for us to practice, to manipulate or to control our birth and death cycle. For example, if you look at a dead person, you see them, they still have a sixth sense organ, eye, ear, nose, body, tongue, etc. Right? So look like that. And the object in the environment still there. They still have image, still have sound, still have smell, still have taste. But do you think that that person can hear, can see, can taste? Definitely not. Okay? They can, that person, yet they can hear, but not through the ear. They can see, but not through the eye. We were talking about later. But for a living person, we can have the eye, that means the sense organ, and we have the object. If we don't have the intermediate, that means the mind consciousness, the sixth consciousness, this one cannot get into our brain. So that's in a way for us to learn and to practice, so we not get attached to the object or to the environment, to the phenomena, and we can control or we can manipulate our mind so it becomes more peaceful, more stillness, instead of be crazy and believing on the illusion. So if we have the edible food, we have a sensible food, but the sixth consciousness not really work. This is doing nothing, really nothing, because it's very low. And then the seventh and the eighth consciousness, it have more power. It's much powerful compared to the sixth consciousness. That means it can be a source of energy to help us to survive in this lifetime, and it has a capacity to bring us from this lifetime to the next lifetime. For example, 30 years, 40 years ago, you don't know what is ice cream, you don't know what is pizza, right? But the first time when your parent told you, okay, I will buy you an ice cream today, I will buy you a pizza. So by the time when your parent gave you an ice cream or a pizza, you will look at that, right? You see the image of that, you smell the smell of that, you take the taste of that, and you think about the environment in that scent at that moment. So after you look at that, you smell that, you ate that, all of that information will go into your storage consciousness. And once in a while, you miss it. You want to eat more pizza, or you want to eat more ice cream, right? Because it's so delicious. And if you have a condition, if you have money, you may go to the store and you buy more ice cream or more pizza, and you eat. And when you eat, all that energy level, it now not only nourish your body in that moment, but now it go into the storage consciousness. It supply more energy for that seed, right? So at certain period of time, certain moment, when you remember you missed an ice cream or a pizza, and you cannot go to the store to buy it, you just close your eye, you think about that, and the energy from the storage consciousness, it will bring it up to your mind consciousness, and it represent. You will see the image of the pizza and ice cream. And if your mind is still enough, clear enough, you will see that image very clearly. You will smell the smell of a pizza in the air, in your nose. You will take the taste of a pizza in your saliva, in your mouth, because the energy from the storage consciousness will re-manifest and recreate all that. Or for example, 30 years ago, when you first met your mate, your lover, the image of that gentleman or that lady, the voice, the touch, all of that, second and third, it will go into the storage consciousness. And whenever you cannot have an opportunity to meet that person, right? Just a word of encouragement, just a gesture of tenderness, loving kindness. And when you are in the situation really despair, really sad, you cannot see that person. But if you sit quietly, peacefully, and that image, that energy from the storage consciousness will be re-manifest. It will be re-manifest on the mind consciousness, and it will supply the energy for you, so you feel more encouragement, more freely, more energy when you think about that person, when you think about the word that person said to you, or the gesture that person cared for you, something like that. You see? And not only it have a capacity to maintain or to nourish you in this lifestyle, it can bring all that energy through the next lifestyle. You see how many talented people at a very young age, for example, an artist, a musician, a scientist, at a very young age, they not go through the kindergarten, even though not through the elementary school or high school, but are, for example, an artist or musician. all of the energy, all the habit, they push into only one field. That means the music, right? So all that energy not only to help that musician to survive in that lifestyle, but it will put into the storage consciousness. And that energy too strong, and it carry after that musician pass away. He will reborn in the next lifestyle. And that energy is the one to initiate to looking for a new body. So that's why it has a capacity to bring from the past life into the next life. And when they have a new body, when the condition gather enough favorable, it will re-manifest right away. That person doesn't need to go through all the school again. Depend on how strong the energy be built up from the past life. Depend on the favorable condition of the new life. That energy will be re-manifest right away. You see, that's why the 8 consciousness and the 7 consciousness, it have a very, very powerful energy. It's not only to help to survive in its lifestyle, and it can carry on. It can be the initiate factor to lead that person to looking for a new body or re-manifest in a new life. So now we will go to look why, and you see that we have 4 kinds of nutriment. For the first kind of nutriment, we have edible food. That means all of the food very normal we eat in daily life. In that one, the scientists and the medical personnel advise to yield, as you see this pyramid, we consume almost 60% of the carbohydrate. This is the main source for our body, because our body needs sugar, and it's easy to burn, easy to supply energy, and easy to harvest, to plant and harvest. The next one, that means vegetable, fruit, we consume about 20%. Less than that, the protein, amino acid, or any dairy product. And on the top, that means the fatty acid or the lipid. But all of this one, it just belong to the first category of food. That means the edible food. But as you see, the top, the higher level, the lower quantity, and we have a higher energy. 1 gram of carbohydrate can burn and provide only 4 kilocalories of energy. But 1 gram of fat can provide 8 to 9 kilocalories for our body. That's why we don't need to yield much, but the energy provided for our body is much, much more. On the same token, you will see in this picture the 2 pyramids. The one on the left represent for the time, the energy you spend to provide for our body. That means we supply for our body. But the pyramid in the right represent for the energy really carried out by all of that sort of supply to carry out all that activity. You see it on opposite, right? Why is that? Now we will analyze and see it, why it's totally opposite. The first one, that means the edible food. Second one, sensible. Third one, cognitive, volition. And the fourth one is the consciousness. We spend at least 8 hours a day working and a few hours in the kitchen to prepare our food, to eat, to clean up. So that means we spend almost more than half of our time, maybe 2/3 of that, because we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 8 hours, so we have 16 hours. In that 16 hours, how many hours we spend for working, for cooking, for cleansing? Maybe at least about 12 hours. We need at least 8 hours at work. See? So we spend too much energy, too much time for the first level. But how about the second level? We try to work hard to buy a new car, a comfortable car, a nice house. We have a good garden. But how much time we really enjoy the nature, the garden around our house, in our neighborhood? How much time we really enjoy our bedroom, our car, or the people around us? And to the third level, our psychology, our mental activity. Do we really care how much time? Even though now most of us know, and we go back to ourselves a little bit more than before. But within 24 hours, how many hours we really sit still, or we come back to ourselves to see what's going on in our head? Why we have a feeling of lonely, sadness, anger, despair? Why we unhappy, etc. See how much time we used to spend for that within a day, within a week. And finally, our spiritual life, our belief. How much time we really invest for that. Even though within an hour sitting meditation, do we really living with our spiritual life? Or it's just traveling all around? You see? So, and then we also know that whatever we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy What are the three levels? The first, the second, and the third? Maximum 80, 90 years. It's just like a rim. And we have to left behind this one. The only one can be go with us is this one. But we don't pay much attention. We don't preserve for that much time. See? Now, to give you an idea why we spend a lot of energy, time for that, but it turning out totally opposite. This is invisible energy, so it's hard for you to imagine. I can give you some examples in the material world, so you can have an idea about that. This is edible food. We can see, we can share. We can take example like solid substance in the environment, right? Like a rock, like a metal. The second level, that is the sensible. It's more subtle. You can feel, you can see, but sometimes it's difficult to share. So we can think at liquid compared to the solid. We can see, we can feel, we can hold, but it's more gentle, it's more flexible, right? Now the next one, our mental, our volition. It's more difficult to see, to share. We can take example like a wind. A wind we can feel, but you cannot see the wind. You cannot hold it, right? You cannot block it. And finally, our mental formation, our consciousness, it's totally invisible, but it's there all the time, all around us, even though when we are sleeping. The same thing, we can take example like the air. We breathe in, breathe out every single second, every single minute. Without that, we cannot survive. So you see, the solid, the liquid, the wind and the air. Now, on the regular perception, we most of us think that the solid is more powerful, it's more stable than the water, right? And the water is more stable, it's more powerful than the wind. And the same token, it will more powerful, more conceptual. Than the air, right? So that's why we spend a lot of time, energy going up with this pyramid, more and less. But now we observe and see how the energy carried out by all that material. Compare the water, the liquid to the solid. What you see? The energy of the liquid is much more powerful than the solid. You see, we can convert the flow of water into electricity, and you just see a few months ago the tsunami in Japan. A few years ago, you see the tsunami in Miami, in Burma, in Sri Lanka. You see how powerful the water it can take away whatever huge, whatever big, whatever heavy, and throw out on its way. You see? Now we go up to the third level. We compare the wind to the first level. What happens when the wind blows on the ground? Normally we see it very gentle. Sometimes a little bit dust blowing around. But when it really concentrates, you see the tornado, right? Within 50 kilometer diameter minimum, whatever heavy or big on the way it goes through, it will throw up in the air like the baby throw the sand up into the air. And the same token, when we compare the third level to the second level, that means the wind blow on the water surface. Sometimes very breezy, gentle, but when it's one, it can create the big wave, 20, 30, 50 meter high. And when that happens, everything on its way will be nothing. You see? So that's why we see how our mind have an illusion on the material life. The more we think it's powerful, and the more we think it's so stable, but the less energy it carries out. But all of that activity of the wind, of the flow of the water, remember, it created by what? The movement of the air. If the air in our universe not moving at all, we don't have the pressure, the atmosphere change. We don't have the wind. We don't have the flow in the ocean. We will have the dead planet. You see? So even though we don't see the movement of the air, we don't feel it. But if we don't have that, we cannot survive. And the planet is a dead planet. You see how powerful? So the more subtle, the more powerful. And even though when we take in the solid, you see the big bomb or the big TNT explosion, it carry out less energy and only the tiny atom of uranium. You see? So even though when we compare in the material, in the solid substance, we still see the more stable, the bigger atom will carry out the less energy than small atom. And if we take another example, we see how powerful our mind power. We are sitting here. But if you think to your bed upstairs, only 2 minutes maximum. But if you think to London, you think to Paris, think to Dallas, America, to Hanoi, Vietnam, to Shanghai in China, to Belgium, to Australia, to Germany. The physical distance is much different, right? It's so different. But the moment when your mind thinks to that place, your mind body right away in that place, the people, the scene, the event, all the activity will re-manifest in your mind and you are in that place right away. You see, it's much more powerful. It goes faster than the light velocity, 360 kilometers per second per hour. But our mind can travel much faster. Why we cannot bring the physical body with us to be present at that place? Why not? Is there anyone have an answer? It's very simple. Because we are sitting here, you are listening to me, but do you sure 100% your mind with your body? See, a few seconds, it's traveling, right? It's traveling all the time. That's why you don't need to be the Arahant. You don't need to be enlightened like the Buddha. You just need to practice very basic method. Bring your mind back to your body as much as possible. Very simple practice.
Difficult.
No, it's not difficult, but because we are living in forgetfulness.
Yeah.
We had a habit to let our mind project out. The simple, very easy practice. Just try to bring our awareness, our mind, back to our body every single time you remember, everywhere. And that's it. When you bring your awareness, your mind, body, back close to your physical body as much as possible. And when you master that, it becomes one, never separate. At that moment, even though you are not enlightened yet, you are not an Arahant yet, you still have the capacity to traveling all around the world with your physical body, wherever your mind thinks to. Yogi can do that. You see? And not only power, you may have other power, what we call supernatural power. Because when we can bring our mind, body and the physical body together, we no longer living in the duality. Right? We no longer live in the differentiation. So everything in the universe becomes harmony at one unit, like you. So your mind now embrace the whole cosmos. Whatever other person think, you will read his mind or her mind, because their mind, his mind or her mind, just a tiny cell of your mind, because your mind is the whole cosmos. The same token for the sound, because when you are living in a condition no longer duality, no longer differentiation, the sound of all of the animal, all of the insect, all of the living being, you can hear and you understand by the nature of that, not by the frequency or not by its sound. So you have a supernatural power from hearing through, seeing through, traveling through. Nothing can block, can be the obstacle on your way. See? So that's why when we know the powerful of all of the nutriment, you will see how can we use our food. But remember, when we talk about our food, it's not only the whatever we eat. A lot, but it's little energy. You see? Maybe you don't have much experience to see this one nowadays, but when you can recall the past, whenever you are in a very hassle condition, very terrible condition, like in the war, like you have to escape a terrible condition. Well, I used to talk, I don't know how many of you already been to terrible war or the condition when we don't have any food, don't have any ring to drink. For example, the Vietnamese, the boat people are on the sea. They have no more food to eat, no more water to drink. Can they survive? The first source of energy, right? They can live. The second, the third level of energy. And the practitioner, the yogi, can do that too. See, we can live food without ring for a few weeks. How come? We have humidity, right? Our skin will absorb the moisture and convert that for our body. In the air, we have only 20 oxygen, 80% of nitrogen for sulfur. All of that, it gets our lung and our body can convert into the amino acid because be the atom combined with hydrogen become acid. Mineral phosphate, the sulfur that still in the air. Yesterday we learned about our body capacity when it has to deal with the hazard situation when our unit it takes the minimum to convert into whatever substance our body needs. That's why a yogi or person in that situation can survive. But not only that, that person don't have an eye to see, to listen to the sound. We don't have any food to eat. We have eyes to see the blue sky, to see green color. We can hear the birds singing the song. We can hear the sound, the wave, and the